Alright, so Creed 3 is finally here, and it's time for me to finally talk about the entire Rocky franchise and also Creed movies. But from what you've seen of the title of this video, yes, I'm just covering all six Rocky films. I will do the Creed trilogy for next video, but for now, we're going to talk about all six Rocky films. And before I go into them, I'll just say this, that overall, I think all six of these movies are good. They all have something good about them. They're all entertaining. None of them are boring or bad. So far, overall, I think the Rocky franchise is one of those franchises where none of them are like films that you hate so much that you'll have them on like a top 10 worst list. That's like how good I think the Rocky franchise is. So let's get right into it. Rocky. This is a film that I don't want to go too deep into, but I do love this movie. It's such a good underdog movie, and it makes you like this movie more when you find out like the backstory to this movie, as this was all Sylvester Stallone's like project. You know, this is a low budget movie at like $1 million. The star of the film is like, this actor that was in like Death Race 2000, a B movie. You got it's got the Penguin from Batman, a football player, an actor from Chinatown, and then you got Connie from The Godfather. So how does this all work? How does a movie, like a low budget movie, win Best Picture? That's like pretty unheard of at the time. And the film just works. It's just a really good movie that it almost like, I feel like people say it has like a very Richard Linklater feel to it in a way, because it's a lot of, first half of this film is not that very narrative driven. It's first like 30 or 40 minutes of the film is like just spending a day with Rocky, going to the pet store, going to work on the docks, working for his like loan shark mob boss, and then then going to Mickey's to find out that he's being evicted. But like I said, you just spend an entire day with Rocky, and it's a way to basically kind of like get to know him as a character, get to like him more. And yeah, it's a film that has a lot of yelling in it, which is what kind of turned me off about this movie a lot, because Rocky's like one of those movies where you watched it but you couldn't finish it, and you tried watching it and you couldn't finish it. Like I swear to God, I've tried to watch this movie and try to finish it. I never could until this summer when I finally did watch it, and I loved it. Watching it again, I loved it. Again, it's just a film that you'll definitely watch it more and more, and nothing about it will really change. Your feelings will always be there. There's like a lot of just things that you'll like notice more and more, like when you watch it again, like that guy at the bar that Rocky brings in. That's Troma film president himself, Lloyd Kaufman. Funny that he's in this movie. And but yeah, Rocky, it's a great film. All the actors are great. Sylvester Stallone should have won the Oscar. Talia Shire, Burt Young, Burgess Meredith, the best Penguin actor, great mentor. Apollo Creed also, like, he's not in the film that much, but he does a great job. And Rocky, it's one of the best. It's one of my favorite Best Picture winners, and I think overall, I think the 70s was just like the best decade for like Oscar winners ever. Rocky 2 is also pretty great. I love this film too. It's a great just follow up to Rocky. What I love about this film is that it really just does like pick up right after the first Rocky, and it continues with Rocky's life, with him getting engaged with Adrian, making a tons of money, being an actor, and then kind of realizing that deep down boxing is his true profession, and how he has to better support his family more. That's what I really like. It's a good film about him learning like true responsibility, and the humor is really good in this. One of my issues with the film though is just the lack of Apollo Creed. He's not in the film that much. And I think his story is interesting, with him kind of like not really like happy with the outcome of the fight, and wanting to truly finish it. And I do like that aspect. And I wish we got more of Apollo Creed, because it seems like, I feel like maybe some was cut out of, like, the idea of, like, that his kids are being bullied at school is, like, mentioned, and he's getting all these notes, and it always, I feel like it could have been more of that, but I still love a lot of the stuff. I still love the drama. The drama is, like, much higher in this film, because Adrian is literally in a coma in this film, and I think Mickey Burgess Meredith's acting is really good in this. Gets a little more to do than in the last movie. But overall, I just really like Rocky 2. It's the best sequel in the Rocky franchise out of all these 6 films. It's the best sequel to come out. And it's a really good, satisfying conclusion to this duology. And then the franchise decided to be all corny. Not at the title. Balboa got the guts to meet me in the ring. Rocky 3 is a pretty big step down from the previous Rocky films, but it does have its good moments. It's just that my issue is Clubber Lang, though I like his over-the-topness, but I don't know why he wants to fight Rocky. It's just like it's almost like he read the twist, the mid-plot twist that Mickey has secretly just been, like, choosing terrible fighters for Rocky just so Rocky can win them all. Which is a point I like. I kind of like, that was interesting, seeing that, like, Mickey has not been, like, giving Rocky good opponents and making Rocky think that he's not good. That is something I like, and I actually do, and I think Mickey dying is a pretty, like, interesting direction to take. And then Apollo Creed helping Rocky at the end is actually a really good, like, turnaround, and making this kind of wish he was in this series more. But we'll get to the 4th one later. It's overall, it's a good movie. I don't think, to me, there's just not much to it. Mr. T is fine in the film. He gives a lot of good over-the-top performances. But overall, I just find, like, Rocky 3 has a good plot, but it's just very forgettable. Unlike the next one, which has a lot more to remember, this one, it's a film that comes and goes. But it's still fun. It's still fun, and it did bring us Eye of the Tiger, so I guess we have to give the film that.
We made a deal.
I know, but it's extremely crazy.
Yeah, it's mentally irregular, right?
So Rocky 4 is a really cheesy sequel, but in a way, Rocky 3's cheesiness kind of, like, helps you. Like, if you're like me, doing, like, marathon of Rocky, going from Rocky 3 to Rocky 4, it really does help, because it, like, robots suddenly appearing after Rocky fighting a wrestler. Why not? You know? It's corny and weird. It's like a Cold War propaganda film. And you know what? I like that stuff. I like these actors making their 4th film in their big franchises to be a movie about stopping nuclear war and ending tensions between USSR and USA. Give me more of that. Take notes, Boone. Alright, but anyway, its only issue is Apollo Creed. I think he really just left the film, the series, just way too soon, and I really wish, like, they just worked it in where he, like, gets incredibly paralyzed, or just, like, he gets put in a coma. Maybe not coma because of Adrian, but at least just, like, make him very badly injured. And, like, I guess that's what makes Rocky, like, want to, like, fight him. Just because, like, America lost her. But I still think it's fun. Like, a modified super boxer from Russia, the Soviet Union. Why not? It's so goddamn over the top. I love it. Dolph Lundgren as over the top villain. For one of his, like, earliest films like this and View to Kill, it's nice. I like it. It's really, really good fun. I like it. So Rocky 4, terrific film. So bad it's good. Really good corniness, but if you're asking me if about the director's cut, when I get to Creed 3, I'll like, while I was like watching Creed 3, like I was kind of like, maybe I should watch the director's cut, but I'll explain more when I get to Creed 2. But I haven't seen the director's cut. I think I will eventually. But I still like this movie. It's a fun moments, got its fun soundtrack, and very over the top montage in Russia and him escaping the side of the KGB. Good stuff. Rocky 5. This is a film I feel like you gotta know, like, some stuff is just not gonna make sense about this movie. Like, first off, the fact that Rocky's son ages very quickly. Like, he's like 5 or 6 in 4, and now all of a sudden he's like in middle school or like 10. Makes no sense, but like, come on, guys. You could have just made the film like actually 5 years, like how the gap was between Rocky films. You couldn't just do that. No. And why Rocky is suddenly broke and has no one to back him is just a weird. I mean, I get like I like the idea of them going back to like Rocky's roots, but the way they make him broke is just weird.
Oh, come on, what'd you do,
He
boy?
gave power of attorney to our accountant.
Gave? I just didn't give anything to nobody, huh? He sent a letter. He says, we're going to be in Russia for a couple of months, he says, and I need Rocky to sign a tax extension.
That extension, that was a power of attorney, Paulie.
He's the thief. I need alcohol. Rocky, on my eyes, I never stole a freaking dime.
Okay, so he has like no one else in his life like that can help him out. He doesn't have any. You gotta just like forget about it, and then all of a sudden he can't fight anymore. Even though in Rocky 2 they explained that he had a blind eye, but all right. I know I said I liked all the Rocky films. I do like all the Rocky films. I do like Rocky 5. It's good. Just some stuff doesn't make sense. Like, there's this whole subplot that Rocky's son is getting picked on at school by bullies because he's Rocky's son. And then Rocky's son trains and he beats up the bullies, and then the bullies are suddenly his friends. I don't know. And he also meets a girl, and I don't know if that girl is like who ends up like marrying in like Creed, as they explained in Creed 2, they're living in Vancouver, or that girl could have been Canadian. I don't know, but that stuff doesn't make sense. And just overall, I think the movie has a good thing going with it. I like the idea of like Rocky passing the torch down to another guy. I think I'll just say this: like, I think Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa, the ideas of this movie, they're put way better together in Creed. But we'll get to Creed in the next video. So now I'm just gonna talk about these movies. I really do like the idea of Rocky being the trainer, and I guess him taking the torch back is kind of a funny way to say it's fun. But it's got a lot of just like very cliche stuff, like Rocky's not being with his son too much because he's focusing way too much on Tommy the Gun. Okay. I mean, like, kid, your dad is going broke. He needs money, alright? So, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, tonight's a good night for both of us to start this wising up thing.
Hey, don't worry about it.
I gotta worry about it. I mean, the deal was we were supposed to be tight, right?
What about Tommy? You tight with him too, huh?
Tommy.
Also, Burgess Meredith's cameo in this film is very... I mean, like, I like the idea that they're trying to, like... I just say to us, like, maybe we should get Burgess Meredith to be in this before he dies. Like, I just... the point where they have it, it's like it's before the Apollo Creed match. I don't know. The way he acts doesn't feel like Mickey, unless like if it was like taking place like 10 years ago and like Rocky and Mickey are like recently met and all that, or like that would have been nice. But it's like before he fights Apollo Creed in '76 in the first one. But look, I really do appreciate this film, what it's trying to do. Because the original director came back, John Avildsen, after doing the Karate Kid trilogy, so it's got something going for it. And I know there's like a work print out there because people are now like requesting a Rocky V director's cut or actor's cut because Stallone director. I would like to see it done better. I feel like there is definitely a really good movie in this, but like I said before, it was improved by another movie. Rocky Balboa is better than Rocky 5 and 3 and 4. And Stallone, Burt Young, their chemistry in this film really does hold this movie.
Yo, Paulie.
Rock. It takes guts climbing back in that ring knowing you're gonna take a beating. You're gonna do all right, Rocco.
How do you know that?
The stuff in the basement.
And I like that. I like the concept of Rocky kind of like having a bit of this like reunion with Marie from like the first film, that little kid. Which is funny because I think they were going to get that actress back for Rocky 5, and I think they caught her. And she sued Stallone for the film, I think when this movie came out. And I think also the real life boxer that Rocky was inspired by, who I'll put his name in the edit, also sued Sylvester Stallone. And now Sylvester Stallone's going on this whole thing about like how Rocky has been like taken over by like the studio. But look, I do like Rocky Balboa. I think it's good. I think its major issues is the editing, because this was Stallone's like first time directing, and it's kind of interesting how like it goes into how like Rocky IV was the last time he ever fought in a ring, and now it's like and that was the last time like Stallone ever directed a movie, and now him coming back and like directing a film and it being about Rocky going back in the ring. It's kind of actually a pretty interesting dynamic there. But the editing choices with like all the flashbacks to only Rocky 1 through 4 because Sylvester Stallone really hates Rocky 5.
Do I know you?
We met a long time ago.
We did?
When I was a kid, you walked me home.
I did?
Told me to stop smoking and things.
Stop smoking. Are you little Marie that used to hang out at that Atomic Hoagie shop?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, now I remember I walked you home, and when you got there, you turned around and said, "Screw you, creepo."
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
And also, he couldn't show any footage of Carl Weathers because I guess Carl Weathers wanted to be in the film, but he couldn't, so no Carl Weathers in this movie. But you get plenty of footages of, like, Clubber Lang and Ivan Drago. We're actually supposed to be in the movie. Like, he was actually considering having Ivan Drago in the hospital from, like, having, like, AIDS from all, like, the steroids that the Russians have been giving him. I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. And we'll talk about the Ivan Drago aspects when I get to Creed 2. But the other thing I don't really like, or like I feel like is wasted in this film, is the character of Steps. I feel like, again, I hate saying this, Creed did this better. The idea of a kind of a kid that didn't know his father, doesn't really have a father figure in his life, and they're trying to do something where Rocky is like trying to be like a mentor to him. It's a good idea, but it's like...
Because I knew being uncomfortable might come in handy someday, like when I was in the ring and such.
Yeah, so why you telling me all this?
Just making conversation.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Who should I be talking to? The pigeons?
So how come you call my mom Little Marie?
Oh, that's how I know her.
Yeah, well, she isn't little no more.
I ain't calling her large.
Why not?
You know, you shouldn't be goofing on your mother.
Look, man, she's my mother.
I know she's your mother, but mother should be goof-proof. You know, heard from your father lately?
Why?
Just curious. Him not being around bother you?
No.
Not at all.
I said it doesn't.
Okay. My old man took it on the Archers.
He goes to the pound with him to get a dog. He goes to the restaurant for a little bit, and then he's just there in the background. It's like, what? Like, what are you doing with this character, Stallone? Like, it's just that he's a character that's there, and it doesn't affect the story. It's like, why do you have him in the movie to begin with? And I do like the whole idea of, like, you know, Stallone, Rocky getting back in the ring, and him, like, going against, like, the public consensus of, like, the idea of him fighting again. Kind of like how the world was reacting to the idea of Stallone playing Rocky again at the age of 60. It's crazy. And I think it is a good film about him trying to, like, reprove himself to be still good at what he does. And I feel like, as, like, a conclusion to the Rocky films of him fighting, it's a good way to end it, and, like, a good way to go into, like, the Creed movies with him now being the trainer, which is, like, the better place to have Rocky, but it's still fun. I still think Rocky is, like, one of the better films in the franchise, and Stallone definitely is still damn good in this movie overall. I like it, and that's it. So now on to ranking the Rocky films. So obviously Rocky's at number 1, and then Rocky 2 is at number 2, and then number 3 is going to be Rocky Balboa, to be followed up with 4 and 5 are both Rocky 4 at number 4, and then Rocky 3 at number 5. And then the weakest is Rocky 5, which I do think is still a decent film. That I feel like we gotta kind of forgive this film a little more. But, like I said, I currently still love all the Rocky films, and I'm about to see Creed 3, and that probably is also going to be really good, and even though Stallone's not in it, but we'll see how everything turns out next time when I talk about the Creed movies. So keep in touch for that next video, and subscribe to my channel to get notified for the video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.